Good evening, guys. I'm in the shop. So this is the start of video 7, technically. So you've now seen kind of where everything is at. We're getting towards the end stages. This will probably be the last video. I know I said that a couple videos ago, but this probably will be it. So this is what's going on. Got the last of the doors back from the Amish gentleman up the road today. And so I'm working on sanding these now. Much smoother, and gonna stain those tonight, get probably the first 2 coats on. At that point I can first 2 coats of lacquer. At that point in the morning I can sand and spray the last one, and by afternoon we should be able to put them all in. So that's going to be a huge step in the right direction. Steve should be here tomorrow. My father should also be here in the evening. We can get that last window in up front, and hopefully we can get something going with the entry door, some progress there. I'm going to start out sanding the back first. This is considered birch plywood, but if you look, you can see this is kind of what we're working with here, and it's really nice. It's cabinet grade birch, so you can see there's several plies in there. So I do the back first, then I go around and hit the rounded edges. And then lastly, I'll do the top or the face. Not sure how this stain would handle it, but the other stain we use from Sherwin-Williams, see, I'm using 220 grit. The other stain from Sherwin-Williams, it's a spray, and so I would take it, and if you'd sand with 220, that really opens up those grain, or opens up the grain of the wood, which was really good for what we needed. The problem was, if you'd go to 400, it left the grain awful smooth and kind of closed up, and it was actually a different sheen, which I suppose wasn't the end of the world as long as it was consistent. So that was the key, is remembering how we did it. So I generally sand 220 and then do the stain. So that's that. You saw it sand. Give me a little bit. I'll get these done, the rest of these, and then we'll start staining and lacquering. Okay, everything has been sanded. Got a whole pile there. They got to get sprayed off of the air as I bring it over here. So basically this is pretty simple. Get your rag ready to wipe off. I basically make sure we're fairly saturated. And this is the color you get. It's kind of a diarrhea-y color, but it works. And I don't let it sit very long, and wipe it on off. Flip it over. Do the same. This has pretty good coverage. Some stains, if you go over it like that and you leave it, it will leave a line, but this one actually disappears pretty good. Just got to make sure to go down the edges there, or every edge, I guess. And then go back and wipe this off. Now I'm doing this over this piece of cardboard, which I don't know if that's the right idea or a good idea or not. I can't really decide. Nice thing is it doesn't really pool, but it is still soaking in, so not sure, but there we go. First of the last doors all set. Gonna bring it and set it in the paint booth. Pretty simple, but again, kind of want to show you guys how I do things. I did not show any spraying going on because here's what's going on. This is all the lacquer I've got left. My dad was able to come up with another ½ gallon of it, of the same sheen, but otherwise it's going to be a few days. This is why I was hoping he would come up last night, but he didn't. Got 2 coats on everything in here. The big doors I didn't have the space, so I stacked those two up right here, and those can go on later, not a big deal. But got the 2 coats on here. If all goes well, I should be able to sand these and get the final coat on tomorrow. But I'm going to have someone out here holding that down in there, making sure that we've got, not going to run dry halfway through a door, because that causes problems too. So going to call it a night. Got some brats on the grill right now. But yeah, pretty happy with how those turned out. There was a pretty good evening after a day that was pretty slow. So hopefully tomorrow, again, we can get them on. We're going to start putting the bed covers on. I guess I call it that, but it's not. The bed tops. So the wood here and here, as well as this side. Next we'll do that, and then dinette. So we're moving right along. These, in order to brace everything correctly, we added these the other day. Of course, you know, with 1/2-inch plywood, it would have bowed anyway there in the middle, but I got looking at that, you know what, let's add some more here on the ends. So doing that right now, and yeah, we'll be good here in just a few minutes. Gene's out cutting another piece, and we're sitting all right. Hey there, everybody. Working on the Airstream, of course. I am underneath it, in case you couldn't tell. I am. Check this out. We got some of the stuff done inside. I'll go back in and show that in a little bit. It's looking pretty good, but we're working on insulation. Just hanging this up right now. I am taking 3/8 quarter crown staples and stapling it up. The nice thing about this is all our compartments are generally the same length this way. So, and then the outriggers will be quite simple as well. So makes things simple. We're cutting them just a touch long. Looking really good here now. Another big step. It finally looks like we're getting somewhere now. We got these up, and now we've got this in. Was kind of deciding how I wanted to do it and hold this in place. Now remember, if you remove this style, that style, and this door, you would be able to install a full-sized fridge for an RV, a 3-way fridge. So with that said, we're going to take a piece of angle iron, screw it right into here, into the insulation, and then into here. That's going to keep this whole thing from sliding. So pretty basic, but we've got good access to it at this point, so check her out. Check this out, guys. We put that in there, screwed it down into there, screwed it into these beams, and you go to move this thing, and it's not going anywhere. So that is another big step. Done. If you remember in the second video of this, I had my issues with the springs and everything. We'll check out what I just did here. Welded these new perches on. That was the first weld. That wasn't so great. I mean, it'll more than be good structural wise. Just probably not as nice as the factory, although, you know. So, welded those on. Up next, we are going to put the springs on and see how things look. Not sure yet if I have to cut the old perches off the other side or not, so I'm going to check that out now. But we're probably not quite ready for this yet. We talked about putting the underbelly on first. However, it would be kind of nice to do this, and then we can see what our ride height is, just so we can make some adjustments if need. Right, guys, it's Friday, about 4:30. I'm working in the shop by myself this evening, as I have for most of the week, but wanted to show you the axle. It's together. I'm being careful here because I am alone. If it crushes me, no one here to help. But I put it together on the sawhorses, not thinking how freaking heavy it would be. And with these springs probably weighing 50 pounds a piece, this is just an extremely, extremely heavy axle. So I'm gonna lift it up with this, set it on the ground, so at least I'm a little bit safer.
4.5 hours later.
It's about 9 o'clock, working in the shop on a Friday. Still, I showed you guys a second ago, the axle. Oh my goodness. that was an ordeal. A lot of times when you put the axle together, even though things look square and you put a square on it, the springs will be, slightly like this compared to the axle. And so you go to put it on and stuff doesn't line up. So this time I left things loose. The problem is I really left it too loose, and it was about 80 degrees or so in here. Holy Moses, what a time that was. So I ended up having to put it up, got it 3/4 of the way up. That ain't gonna work. Had to take it all the way down, realized that the springs were sitting, instead of flat on the axle, they were cocked, which was causing them to not go in. We couldn't get bolts to line up, but bolts are in for their custom bushings. It is on its own wheels and tires. I don't know what the air pressure is, so I'm guessing it looks kind of squatted. It'll probably go up another inch. But wow, what a difference. Thing is really looking good here now. This here was 27.5 inches, and that was a huge step up for my fat self. And so now it's only 21 inches to there. And so this is just about perfect. The lacquer came in, and I got these cabinets up today. Even though they're already up, I took them, just put them up there because I didn't want them laying and bowing over time. I am one short of the knobs because it is on this. That is the cutting board. I couldn't think of what it was called for a second. The cutting board is currently being stained, and I'm going to throw a coat of lacquer on it tonight as well. I'm just going to rattle can it. And then finally, at Menards, I need to get some 1x and make a thing for this. We're going to figure out a way to build a framework there so that I can put the boards in just like those. Pretty successful day, despite me not getting here until about 4 o'clock. Really happy to see this thing on the ground, though. That's a big step. It's like, oh, finally. Working here in the shop, got the countertop dropped off, made some adjustments to it. I went and picked it up, made sure everything was right. Having a professional get that faced for me, and I got the leftover here, right here. Now we're working on the tabletop. This is something I can handle myself, not a big deal. Bought this thing from the Amazon. Well, from Amazon, not the Amazon. It is a different radius thing. Obviously R is radius, but if that's I don't know what the numbers mean, but obviously the bigger it is, the less severe it is. So we're making this table at an R40. This one worked pretty good. Saw these a while back. They were just half of this, and but that's that. So this is how it works. You adjust these, put a couple screws in it, and good to go. Like that. And all right, we got her screwed on there. I'm being very careful with it, but here we go. Pretty simple, nice finish to it, and then we'll just put our laminate on it, glue it down, of course, and then we'll use the same bit right around the edge, and we'll have ourselves a table. We got it glued down here. Just getting ready to router it out. As you can see, I started it here, and looking pretty good so far. I'm really happy with this. Alright guys, here we are. Got our countertop installed, and as I was putting it in place, I dropped it and cracked it. So we'll have to order a new one of those, but it is what it is. Got the pedestals installed, and this was not intentional, but this is the same height, which is kind of cool. May end up wanting to get shorter legs, I'm not sure, but for now we're going to leave them because of course you're going to have 4 inches on top of this. It came up to about here on me. Ooh, must be cold. But, you know, if I'm 4 inches higher, somewhere, you know, in there, so. Hey there guys, it's been a pretty busy afternoon, and I swallowed some nuts and have not been able to talk since. Anyway, check out what we've been working on. These are the shelves. They're supposed to kind of hide this pipe. You know, these aren't complete yet. They're just in the process, but that's what we're doing here. Up next, originally this was it. This was all we were doing. But I've decided now to fill it in from here all the way up and then add a little lip here. So we've got, you know, basically an open medicine cabinet is what it's going to be, or nail polish or whatever. So that way from here, that'll be hidden pretty well. You're only going to see it if you're sitting on the toilet, and that's that. So then decided I was going to try messing around with window trim, and here's what we've got so far. So it's filthy, but it doesn't look too bad. So this isn't the highest polish I've ever done, but turned out pretty decent, all things considered. I could have probably strangled Steve because he had this idea to make these pieces here, and boy, what a pain in the butt they have caused us. So heaven forbid we just accept the way things are. From the factory, that would have not been there. You would see the screen. The problem is they're too thick. So up here, I had to trim it down, and it's just been a mess and a half. So, oh, also, I guess I probably didn't show, but we got this countertop in. I got to put it in a little bit better than this, but as for the most part, it's mounted. So that's that. Obviously, faucet will go back there, and yeah. So making progress. Thankfully, not sure what I'm going to do next. I'll probably do one more window tonight, and yeah, call it a night. They're going to take me at least an hour to do these, and as we're making them, I'm having to polish the individual pieces too. The old ones were so mangled and beat up that it just wasn't worth trying to save all of them. So remaking that. One of the Amish shops put the brake in this metal for us. But one thing that is different, originally these would have been riveted in. I don't know if she's going to like those. She may want to do something completely different. So I'm just going to leave them screwed in, and that way she could remove them if she wants to paint them white, or if she wants to paint them a completely different color. That's at least an option. Oh. Woo! Yeah, look at that. Monday night, working on the I'm working in the shop on the Airstream. Check it out. Got this door on, although it needs a seal along here. Check out this design, guys. This is the way this thing was designed. Sticking out that far. Just the stupidest thing you've about ever seen. And now we're actually starting on the underbelly. This is going to be one of our biggest challenges, probably on the whole trailer, because when we got it was pretty mangled. But I think we've got a plan here. Guess we'll find out here shortly. All right, here we go. Got this piece cut. We really aren't too sure in it yet, but I'm going to lay this out onto this piece here. So we've got one for the other side. That doesn't mean they're going to be the same either, but of course that is the hope. So check it out. Here we go. First attempt at who knows.
Well, you take all them out.
It is now Tuesday, October 7. going to kind of update you and then show you what I've been working on. So the goal is leave Michigan with this Airstream no later than October 24. Right now, that is my plan, October 24. My friend's going to go with me. We're just going to bomb it out there. It's about 36 hours driving each way, and so that's 3 days, and I'm planning on 4. That'll give us Friday night, and he'll drive most of the night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then all day Tuesday. So that's our goal as of now. So you'll probably see this in a video, and then we'll do the final. I know I continue to say that, but so far it's just there's progress, and but no completion. So check out what I've been working on. We have every window in and as functioning as it's going to get. Whoever has had this thing in the past, oh my gosh, they have just bastardized this thing like you wouldn't believe. I mean, someone welded these. I mean, it is a disaster. So all new seals, stuff is far from perfect, but I mean, there's just not much you can really do about that. So might have to get creative with some caulk. The front one is in. Tough to tell, but it's bowed in the middle, so that's not fun. These side are in. Everything cranks and latches how it's supposed to. Really, all the windows should have had this style of a catch, but they don't for whatever reason. Whoever said Airstream is good must be a lunatic. The quality is not very good. So made a little adjustment here. This door was all wonky, and it looks pretty good now. And then back window, also good. Tomorrow, Gene will be here. We'll start putting in the rest of these rivets. He claims he can do that, so we'll find out his riveting skills. And then I'm, of course, working on this door. It's actually pretty amazing how flimsy this thing is, but I added this piece halfway, ran a few rivets in, and it is getting way stiffer just from that, thank God. Then we spent 2 or 3 hours today, at least 2, so that's 4 hours. Man hours because there's 2 of us, and these all got buck riveted on. This seal goes around the perimeter like so. This seal just sticks on, and so fairly happy with all that. Eventually this will get tucked up underneath this panel here, but me and my dad started messing around with it last night, and I'm actually really happy with the way it's turning out so far. So in the morning I ended up cutting these notches just a little bit too deep. So in the morning, we're gonna go get more material, just use what I had. And so, gonna go get more material, enough to do all of them now that we kind of have a rough idea of how we're going to do all this, and we'll cut them properly. That'll go on, and then we'll start installing the underbelly the rest of the way underneath. So those are big steps. There's a lot of small stuff. There's still maybe 35 things on the list, but there's a lot in progress. And, some of it is simple, like finish the table. Well, had I not damaged the table, it would already be done. So that's less than an hour of work. Some of it's a little more complicated, but, for the most part, we're moving along. My dad has been here since about 7, and for the first time in a long time, we have a functioning door. Well, I guess it always did open and close, but this here now goes in like that, nice and tight. This we had to get a new deadbolt. The one we had was mangled. We couldn't get new innards for it. And now that shuts like that, just how it's supposed to, brand new. And we use the old catch on the inside, so actually really happy with that. This also locks. There, that's locked there. That stops. There's a spring in here Vintage Trailer Supply used to make, but apparently they don't right now or anymore. So, yeah. But this panel here is a little bit weird because of this design. Maybe we should have remade it. It's kind of, ooh, but otherwise, we're pretty happy with it, all things considered here. Unlock there, unlock this way, and maybe I'll unlock it and show you guys the inside.
That's locked.
Oh, it was already unlocked. There we go. Got to know what you're doing. You got to be smarter than what you're working on. So anyway, we got these screwdrivers in here for now, just holding everything so the seals adhere good. They're just stick on double-side tape type stuff. So that's that. This panel I had to remake, and this is actually the old part of the old deadbolt. We were able to use it as our escutcheon for our new door handle here. It's in pretty bad shape, so cut that out. And then this, of course, is also lockable from the inside. So, all right, guys, it is Friday, October 10. We've got exactly 14 days before I'm supposed to hit the road again. Making progress. If you notice, I'm outside because for the first time since probably December or January of 2024 or December of 2023, this thing is outside. Look how filthy it is. And so because of that, we wanted to get this thing cleaner so I can start on the caulking and figuring out what I'm going to do for final polish and all that good stuff. So that's what we're working on right now. And then the countertop is done, and that should have been picked up by my grandma today. And then we will work on installing that on Sunday. Went to do the underbelly today, and Woodland Airstream here in Michigan did not have the underbelly despite having bought some on Wednesday. They are out of it apparently, and none of the online stores have it because apparently it's a problem with Airstream. So I was able to find the right thickness locally, but if I can get the underbelly on, I can get 2 or 3 more things done. And if I get this countertop in, I can get 4 or 5 more things done. So all a process here at this point. Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, October 13, 2025, working in the shop. We're actually cleaning out the paint booth. I'll get to all that later. I wanted to show you what we're working on, though. This was big last night. Got the countertop installed, and as well as the sinks. And the plumbing is underneath as well, ready to basically run the final drain line back under the bed down where it needs to go. So that's really cool, really big step. The trim for this should be in on Wednesday, but right now we're going to attempt this door. So needs a screen. As you can see, it's kind of a disaster, but what we're going to do, when we got it, there was chunks of wood, shall I say strips of wood, down the edges here. But what we're going to do now is these aluminums, and they basically hide everything. So that's really nice. So I'm pretty excited there. And we're going to start putting the screen on and see what we can do. Check her out, guys. Here's our new screen door. Nice and tight. So that's a huge step. Up next, we really need to put the latches on. They'll, of course, be down here and up here. But otherwise, it's looking really good. Again, another big step here. We'll work on the latches now, and then the door should be complete. All right, guys, you saw the door. That's pretty cool. Just going to do a quick walk around and show where we're at with everything. Not sure if I showed the underbelly and the way it was turning out the other day. And this is going to be the last video for right now on the Airstream restoration. And I'm releasing 2 videos today. So make sure to check both of them out. Like, subscribe, share, comment, and check it all out. But this will be the last one of the Airstream for right now. You'll see it soon, and we'll be making more progress, but check her out. Started making the underbellies the other day, and this was, we expected, going to be one of the worst parts on it, and it turned out really, really nice. Oh, I took this one off. This one is a heavier metal. That is 030 aluminum. This stuff is 025. It's so much simpler to work with. Got to hang these lights. I mean, there's a bunch of little stuff that I'm still going to keep working on over the next few days, but that's that. So thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned. Next one probably will be the last one. And so I'm looking forward to having this one finished up, and she is looking forward to having it. But as you'll see in the next video, it's going to be a little bit yet. So thanks for watching. See you soon, guys.